I would like you to close your eyes. Sit down, close your eyes. I promise it's not California woo-woo. But think about the healthiest you. What does that look like? Is it the healthy body, healthy mind, healthy relationship? Is it maybe a dress that you wanted to wear that you haven't worn in a long time? Or just the way your skin looks or how you feel? Open your eyes. There. It's done. Now, wouldn't it be great if it was that easy? But it isn't. It's not magic. It's mindset and motivation. And with mindset and motivation, you can transform your body and change your life. I'm Susie Garcia, award-winning registered dietitian, #1 international best-selling author, motivational speaker, and nutrition expert. And I'm not the food police. I really don't care what you eat around me. You don't have to be scared. And my friends, colleagues, and clients, they know that that's just not my personality at all. In fact, my friend Lynn and my friend Fatima, they were making quite a bit of fun of me because Lynn said what I was eating tasted like cardboard, and then I was walking across the room. Where is it? Hold on. So I was walking across the room with a coaster, and Fatima says, "Oh, is that cardboard snack?" And I'm like, "No, it's a coaster." So Lynn took a bite out of it. So we have a lot of fun, and living healthy is fun, and you can make fun of what I eat if you want. And since you don't know me that well, I wanted to take a little bit of time and give you a little bit of my background, if that's okay. And I want to talk about how I found my bliss in California. I was sitting at the kitchen counter, my aunt and uncle's kitchen. I was watching a PBS documentary on the Blue Man Group, which I don't know if any of you have seen them. They're so awesome. And during that documentary, somebody read a quote from Joseph Campbell that talked about following your bliss. And it was just like this gong that resonated with me. And it's like, I knew that I was where I was supposed to be. And like a lot of us here, there's a lot of ups and downs in our life, as well as mine. And it's kind of interesting, there are a lot of similar stories, and I didn't put my story in my bio when I was speaking here, and I don't think other people did, but there's a lot of things that are very common. And I had, prior to going to California, I'd been in a really bad marriage for 12 years. I call it a bad movie I saw a long time ago. Want to forget about it. And my husband was an abusive alcoholic, and so we moved around a lot, and I kept hoping it would get better. You just hope, you think that it's going to be better. And there was one point where we went to a new town in Texas, and I was like, okay, in this town I'm not going to get a black eye. I managed to avoid it, but we didn't live there very long, and that's part of what happens when you're in that situation. You move and move, keep thinking things will get better. They didn't, and I did finally leave. Got in my car and I drove to my sister's in Minneapolis and knew I was not going to go back, but didn't know what I was going to do. So I got a couple of bartending jobs, which is fun. And then my aunt and uncle call me in California, and they're like, "Do you want to come and house sit in our big, humongous home on the hill and watch our dog and cat for a month?" I was like, yeah. I hadn't been on a vacation in 12 years. Are you kidding me? And so that's what brought me to sitting at their kitchen counter watching the Blue Man Group, and I was finally able to start my own company and got some really amazing opportunities. I worked with a company called Guggenheimer, and they do Fortune 300 food service. So I flew up to Nike, I spoke at Visa and Safeway corporate offices, and just a lot of really fun, interesting things. I got a teaching position at the Culinary Institute in Napa. And then last year I came out with 2 books. One of them is Psyched to Be Skinny, and I have that with me. And I co-authored this with a friend of mine from high school that's a doctor of clinical psychology. It's How to Stop Emotional Eating, Enjoy Healthy Weight Loss, and Keep It Off for Life. And I'm going to talk a lot about emotional eating today. And I'm just really honored for the things that have happened to me and that I get to be on stage in Charleston, South Carolina, because where else could I wear this dress, really? Actually, I bought it for church for Easter, and it was like cold and rainy and awful, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to wear something else. And with emotional eating, it's something that all of us have dealt with, and I'm sure that you've dealt with that as you're imagining yourself and how you look. And so today I want to talk about magic, mindset, motivation, and then also how you can be happy and healthy and learn how to eat for energy, not emotion. one of the coaches that I've worked with did one of her programs. She talks about 5 things that everybody wants. One of them is we want to look better, we want to feel better, we want to make money, we want to improve our relationships, and finally we want to improve our performance. They aren't really in any particular order, but there's usually 1 or 2 that resonates with other people. Now for me, as a health and wellness professional, I see all of them as extremely important and can have to do with your health, what you're eating, how you're nourishing your body. If you want to look and feel better, it depends on what you're eating, what you're putting in your body, sort of that garbage in, garbage out. If you aren't fueling your body well, you can't focus, you can't think. If your immune system is compromised because you've got all kinds of preservatives and stuff, then you get sick more. And then you can't perform well. And so how healthy you are can make an impact on your financial success. Or you want to improve relationships. I'm sure you or someone you know is in a relationship. It could be a friend or a couple, but where one of the people just, they don't ever feel good, so they don't do anything. They don't want to go for a walk. They don't want to go out because they're just feeling icky. Or even with married couples, oftentimes there could be one of the partners that they maybe consistently overeat and then they're way too full and they don't want to have sex and they just don't want to make it happen. And that can be a really struggling thing for many couples. And then the 5th item about improving performance, that could be running marathons, doing Ironmans, doing other things that I don't care to do, like ride a bike for 500 miles. But that's awesome that people do that. I did do 1 marathon and that was it. I did it, done it, made sure it was in Hawaii, and good. Check that one off. But it could be that you want to learn how to paint, or you're trying to write a book. If you aren't healthy and nourished, it's going to be harder to improve that performance. So when you're looking at, I guess, I'm sharing a list that somebody else wrote. And part of that is because I really feel that's important to get coaching, to work with other people, to hire professionals. You've heard a lot of amazing speakers today that have a lot to offer, and really keep your, hearts and minds open to getting the help you need. It might be in business, it might be in your health, but that's something that is really, really important to me. And before I get into the magic and talking about how things can help, I personally want to thank all of the vendors that are here, if we can give them a hand. And I haven't gotten to talk to everybody, but there's some, like Juice Plus I love it, I take that. The Rodan Fields, I think I switched like 2 months ago, and I can't even tell you how much better my skin is. However, I also use the Mary Kay eye makeup remover. Like, I buy it like 10 at a time because it's my favorite. So there's just a lot of great vendors here, so please support them as well. So are we all in agreement that health, wellness is all part of a healthy lifestyle? Yep, okay, good. But the problem today is we don't know what to eat. There is so much misinformation out there. You've got stuff on the internet, you have supplements, diet plans, crazy contraptions, and it's just really, really overwhelming. The weight loss industry is a $60 billion industry. And how many of you have spent money on it? And then you don't have results, and it gets frustrating. You're trying to figure out, okay, what should I buy at the grocery store? Wait, can I go to the grocery store? Do I have to go to a farmer's market? Okay, there's organic, and there's gluten-free, and there's vegan, and paleo. What? It makes you crazy-o, right? And it's no wonder that the combination of all of that stuff, and then what your friend said, and what somebody else said, it just makes it that we are literally frozen and don't even know what to do. And most of us are going to do one of 3 things and hope for the magic this time. And I'm going to give you a 4th thing towards the end. But first, we'll do nothing. Just complain that our pants don't fit, and oh gosh, I had to raise my blood pressure medicine, and I'm really tired, hoping that like some kind of magic dust is going to fall on you, and this time it's just going to be better. Or we'll do the same thing that we did before that didn't work, but you're going to do it again anyway because it's comfortable and it's easy. I have so many people that come in as clients that are like, well, the first time I did Weight Watchers, I lost 40 pounds and it was so great. And then the next time I did it, I lost 20 pounds. And then the next time, and the next time, and then I gained 2 pounds the last time I did it. And that's kind of a crazy cycle because you're comfortable and it just says, well, I'm just going to try the same thing again. And then the third thing that you may do is you'll latch on to the next Get Thin Quick program that's coming out there. It promises outrageous results in this little short period of time. And I don't know if any of you have ever looked at the fine print on the TV when it comes on. I press pause and like walk up to the TV so I can see it because it's so small. Every single one of them, and they have to do this for their disclaimer, it says, results not typical. So that's not going to work. And I want to talk a little bit about those types of plans. They're restrictive. They take away your choice, and we've talked about choice. And so they're taking away the choices of food. So you've got all this beautiful food out there, and some of it might not be the greatest, but it doesn't mean that you have all this, that it's black and white. So they give you a list of foods. These are the things that you can eat. So you've got this little thin list of foods that are what you can eat. And what happens with our body physiologically is when you are given a smaller amount of food to eat, you're naturally going to end up eating fewer calories. And when you eat fewer calories, you will lose weight. But if it's really restrictive, when you're eating those fewer calories, you're slowing down your metabolism. We are all getting older, with the exception of the super young gals in the corner, but they will also get older and your metabolisms will slow down. So when you're really, really restrictive, that's slowing down your metabolism. And when your metabolism's slow, it actually can affect your energy level because you just kind of feel a little bit more sluggish. And the other thing that can happen is because you have these restrictions, you're thinking about other foods. And Jeff, I'm going to pick on you. What is a food that you, not that you hate, but that you just don't like very much, like you really don't ever choose it very often?
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. I get that a lot. I know, what? Put some bacon with them. They're so good. But if you were on your new, Uber food plan and it was like you can't have Brussels sprouts, you would literally be at the restaurant and be like, oh, the Brussels sprout salad looks kind of good. And what happens with these plans is they aren't teaching you new habits. They're not teaching you how to make better choices and create lasting change. They're teaching you to crave foods that you can't have even if you don't like them. Now, there is no magic in that. Now think about when we're wishing for all of that magic to happen. What does that do to your mindset? We've got all of this, emotions and misinformation, but when we start looking at our own habits and our emotions, it layers that confusion, so it makes it even more difficult to know what we're going to do. And it's not fun to feel like eating is a challenge. It should be an enjoyable experience. And what happens is we get a little bit confused about how we're talking about ourselves and how it relates to food, and how we're talking about food. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say that I'll hear this, people will say, oh my God, I was so bad this weekend, I ordered a pizza. Okay, seriously, you are not bad because of what you ate. The pizza isn't bad, it's a pizza, and it doesn't matter what you put on it. But what happens is the negativity of using the word bad as you're talking about yourself can then affect what success you may or may not have, and it can actually sabotage what you're trying to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And when you mix up that love and hate relationship with food or how you're classifying yourself, it can cause an additional confusion. Another example of this would be, someone might say, it would not be me, but someone might say, I love fried Twinkies. And then you eat one, and you feel kind of guilty because, for God's sake, it was a fried Twinkie. And then your stomach kind of hurts because it was a fried Twinkie. And was love really the right word to use for that food? Probably not. And so that's something that I really want you to consider as you are thinking about what you're going to choose on a menu or what you're having to eat or how you're saying things. And that's part of a lot of what I did in my book, is because I listen to how people explain things, and then that's how I help them get through if they're wanting to lose weight or have more energy, whatever those goals are. And in the book, I identify 10 different types of eaters. We've got the bored eater, the anxious eater, the period eater, the big boned eater, which is really related to what Deborah was saying this morning about family heritage. Those are people, it's like, oh, my grandparents were heavy, and so there's a lot of different things. And one of my clients, Donna, she was a situational eater, and I'd been working with her with an individual healthy coaching program, and she lost about 20 pounds, which was awesome, and she was getting ready to go on vacation. She's like, oh gosh, it's just a shame that I'm going to gain all this weight back. It's like, what? But she had in her mind that was the situation, that she was going to go on vacation and she was going to pig out and she was going to eat every single thing that she wanted. And she put that expectation out there that she was going to gain weight. And also because it was vacation, she felt that was like an obligation to gain weight on vacation. And so I worked with her on how she was thinking about what she was doing and just her thought process, and we came up with some strategies. I think she gained maybe 4 or 5 pounds, but it was a lot better than what she had originally anticipated. Okay, guess what? Bathing suit season is around the corner. We might have a class reunion this summer, a big date that you want to look nice for. Now, sometimes that may motivate you, sometimes it's not. But motivation is really key to finding out whether you're going to be successful. And I realize I'm talking a lot about weight loss, and some of that is because 2/3 of the country is overweight, and I'm not implying that 2/3 of this room is overweight, but I have learned that even people that are seemingly within their healthy body weight, they maybe aren't eating and nourishing their body properly, they may have really low energy, or they maybe really do want to just lose an extra 5 pounds or lower their body fat. So I'm really trying to speak very globally about energy, but most of the people that I deal with are very interested in weight loss. And one of the problems that happens is everybody tries to do everything all at once. You think back to the beginning of the year and the gym is full and you're, or maybe it's for bathing suit season and you decide to start on this big plan and you're doing shakes and going to the gym every day, and it gets overwhelming and you can't stick with it. And that's what's problematic with just human nature is, okay, let me see if any of you have said this before. Well, I know what to do, I just am not doing it. And that's what happens. And then we get a little bit stubborn and we want to do it on our own. And that's why what I mentioned earlier about working with coaches and working with professionals is sometimes creating change, you want to have a little bit of guidance and a little bit of help. You also need to be patient with yourself, because if you're trying to change a habit, it doesn't happen overnight. And I did a little bit of research on how long it takes to create a new habit. Anybody guess what I found? Okay, so guess what? You're all wrong. So back in the 50s, I love this stuff. I'm a little bit of a nerd. Well, I'm a lot of bit of a nerd, but anyway, that's okay. So back in the 50s, there was a plastic surgeon. His name was Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and what he noticed was that after he did a surgical procedure on his clients, it would take them a minimum of 21 days to get used to that change. And so then he tested some things out on his own for trying to change his own habits, and also noticed that it was about 21 days, and he published a book that had this stuff in it, and it sold millions of copies. And then people like Zig Ziglar and Anthony Robbins, they got a hold of this information and started saying, they forgot the word minimum. They'd say, well, it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And it's been said over and over and over again, so it's like, oh, well, now it's a fact. It's 21 days to get a new habit. There was another research study that was done in 2009 in London, and they had a whole bunch of people that gave them a whole bunch of different habits. And the number of days that they came up with to change your habit was anywhere from 18 to 254 days. I found that to be a huge relief, because there are things that I have tried, like when I decided, okay, I really need to meditate, and it did not take me 21 days to get into that habit. And so to me, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to know that, oh, it's okay. The other thing that the study found was that you didn't have to, like if you missed a couple of days, you could still be successful in creating that new habit. And finally, the last thing that I wanted to share with you was how you can be happy and healthy and start eating for energy, not emotion. So we've talked about magic, we've talked about mindset, we've talked about motivation, and there's a 5-step process for you to energize your body, and I'm going to go through them. And I also have, and it goes with, it's a standalone program that I have. I have these flyers on my table, which is right outside the door. And what you want to do is get yourself ready to be in a healthier lifestyle. The step number 2 is to nourish your body with healthy foods. The third step is to learn how to add activity into your daily routine. Number 4 is how to plan and prepare healthy meals, and I can tell you that's probably one of the biggest challenges that most people have, and I have a really great step-by-step process for that. And the 5th thing is how to keep and stay motivated for life. So I do have those flyers. It's over $700 value. Normally it's $97. I have that as an investment today for $77. And I also do have my book, and these are $15. And any books that are sold, I'll donate 5 back to the charities that we're supporting here today. And I want to close with the quote that I heard when I was sitting at my aunt and uncle's kitchen counter. If you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all along, all the while waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. Wherever you are, if you are following your bliss, you are enjoying that refreshment, that life within you all the time. Thank you.